Right now, a missing Sun Prairie woman later found murdered is laid to rest today. This as her family looks to keep her memory alive. Plus, the U.S. and Colombia back off a trade war after a dispute over deportation flights carrying migrants. Why Colombia pushed back and reaction from lawmakers. This is News 3 Now at noon. Thank you for joining us. I'm Michelle Renee Quinn, filling in for Josh Sprider. Now, a murdered Sun Prairie woman will be laid to rest today. On January 14th, authorities found Ingrid Isamar Valverde Ponce dead in a field in the town of Bristol after being missing for 3 days. Another visitation will take place today in just a half hour. It runs until the funeral, which starts at 1:30. Both will take place at the Sacred Hearts of Jesus and Mary Catholic Church in Sun Prairie. The family says the public is welcome to attend. Valverde is originally from Nicaragua. She left her son back home and moved to Sun Prairie, where she would work to send money back home for her son.
You know, who wants to leave their young son and not see them for 2 years? You know, her son was her everything.
As for the suspect in the case, Gerson Blasno is charged with first-degree intentional homicide. Families say Blasno and Valverde Ponce were dating at the time. He's currently being held on an $800,000 bond. He's expected back in court on Wednesday. A Tennessee man is dead after a crash Sunday afternoon in Dodge County. It happened on County Road B in Beaver Dam. Police say at around 4:30, a pickup truck failed to stop at the intersection at County Road A. A Cadillac Escalade on County Road A hit the truck. The truck's driver was ejected from the vehicle and died at the scene. 3 children in the Escalade suffered minor, non-life-threatening injuries. Meanwhile, in Grant County, a Prairie du Chien woman is badly hurt after a crash over the weekend. The crash was reported at around 7 a.m. on Saturday at the intersection of Stage Road and Appler Road. Investigators say the woman failed to stop at a stop sign and drove into the path of a truck. The crash sent both vehicles into a ditch through a barbed wire fence, finally stopping in a field. The woman got trapped inside the vehicle and needed to be freed. She has serious but non-life-threatening injuries. Another woman in the vehicle suffered minor injuries. The truck driver was not hurt in the crash. President Trump is declaring victory in a face-off with Colombia over return flights of undocumented migrants. Colombia's president initially said he wouldn't accept the flights, saying the U.S. cannot treat Colombian migrants as criminals. That prompted President Trump to threaten a travel ban on Colombian government officials and 25% tariffs on imported goods, increasing to 50% in a week. Colombia punched back with a tariff threat, but ultimately backed down.
What message is President Trump trying to send by using military aircraft?
Well, he's trying to use a strongman message, and he's prepared to pull out all the stops in order to have it succeed.
Colombian officials are set to travel to Washington this week to follow up on their agreement with the U.S. Today, President Trump is expected to sign 3 executive orders to reshape the military. One directive will ban transgender service members. The president will also reinstate and give back pay to service members who were discharged for refusing the COVID-19 vaccine. The final executive order will gut the military's diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. All this comes after Trump's nominee for Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth was sworn in Saturday. Hegseth has long said he plans to make major cultural changes to the military, including ending DEI and removing what he calls, quote, woke service members. And if you've been outside at all today, you know it's a bit breezy out there, so let's check in on those wind speeds. First Warn meteorologist Jacob Montesano has a look at your accurate forecast.
Yeah, the wind is pretty gusty right now. I'm not sure if it's picked up on microphone, but it's definitely pretty loud behind me. Taking a look at those current wind speeds right now, up over 20 miles per hour for a lot of the area. 28 miles per hour in Juneau, 25 in Monroe, 24 in Janesville. Here's a look at the wind gusts. Some areas up near 40 mile per hour wind gusts at this hour. So you'll definitely feel it if you step outside. Thankfully, where I am right now, the building is kind of blocking the winds, but just behind me, the trees are really blowing in it. Now, as we take a look at the current temperatures, this is the good news. It is definitely a lot milder, upper 30s, lower 40s for much of southern Wisconsin. And we're going to see temperatures pretty similar to this for much of the week. Now, as we take a look at the current radar, dry right now in southern Wisconsin. There are some snow showers further north. As they push to the south, though, they are going to dissipate. So much of southern Wisconsin, although there's a slight chance of some flurries, we're likely not going to see much. Best chance of those snow showers will be north of Madison. Now, I'll talk more in detail about our next chance of possible precipitation and show you how mild temperatures could get this week coming up a little bit later.
All right, Jacob, thanks. We'll check back in shortly. Well, the Super Bowl is now set, and the Kansas City Chiefs will face off against the Philadelphia Eagles in Super Bowl 59. The Chiefs advanced to the big game by beating the Buffalo Bills at home 32-29, while the Eagles beat the Washington Commanders 55-23. Now, this will be a rematch from 2 years ago. Kansas City beat Philly 38-35 in Super Bowl 57. This time, the Chiefs will try to make history in the Super Bowl to become the first NFL team to ever win 3 championships in a row. Now, the Super Bowl will take place February 9th in New Orleans. Still ahead for us this afternoon, if you have a question or concern about your plants or garden, now is the time to send us your questions via email to tips@channel3000.com. Lisa Briggs from the Bruce Company joins us later in the broadcast with the answers. Again, that's tips@channel3000.com. Coming up next, who came out on top of the box office this weekend? Plus, TikTok's parent company gets a proposal for its U.S. operation.
TikTok's parent company has received a proposal for its U.S. operation. According to a person familiar with the deal, San Francisco-based artificial intelligence company Perplexity AI is proposing a merger that would allow the U.S. government to own up to a 50% stake in the social media app's U.S. business. It comes after TikTok was taken down for a few hours last weekend due to a U.S. law banning the app unless it had cut ties with Chinese parent company ByteDance. The app returned before President Trump signed an executive order delaying the ban for a few months. Neither ByteDance nor TikTok have responded to requests for comment on the proposal. The Mel Gibson-directed Flight Risk flew to the top of the box office in its debut with an estimated $12 million domestically. Mufasa the Lion King is still roaring strong with close to $9 million for the second spot. And the female-led comedy One of Them Days rounded out the top 3 with around $8 million in its second weekend. And Krispy Kreme hopes your love will grow for its new Valentine's Day-themed donuts. The Hearts in Bloom collection with sweet names like You Make My Daisy and Love You Bunches can be purchased in a special flower bouquet box starting today. That's your CBS News Money Watch report. For more, log on to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the CBS Broadcast Center, I'm Matt Piper.
Here's a look at the stock numbers. Currently, the Dow is up 61 points, the Nasdaq is down 702, and the S&P 500 is down 107. When we come back, Pam has today's farm numbers and Jacob returns with your forecast. Then later on, live at 4, it's the first day of News 3 Now's Community Baby Shower. What Babies and Beyond needs from you and where you can donate. Welcome back. Let's check in now with our fabulous farm babe, Pam Yankee, for your Midwest Farm Report. Good afternoon.
Hello, Michelle Renee. Yeah, good afternoon indeed. Sunshine out there and more moderate temperatures. I'll take all of that and then some. And we've got some other fun news or pseudo-fun news for you on a Monday. Some of my farm broadcaster friends are down in San Antonio, Texas right now for the American Farm Bureau Federation's annual meeting. Farm Babe not here, but I want to share one of the stories with you. It is the Farm Dog of the Year. This is a campaign that the American Farm Bureau Federation started a couple years back. Most farms have dogs on them. It just seems to go hand in glove with our livestock. There you go. That's Sirius. That is a 6-year-old Marca May. He's kind of as big as a Pyrenees. He's a guard dog, and what he's doing down in Florida is making sure he is protecting some very valuable mini horses that farmer has that he uses for therapy as well as just walk people through some tragedies in their life. They took the horses up, for example, to Sandy Hook. And you see that Sirius, along with a few more Pyrenees, helped keep those animals in play. Now, remember, Florida's got different predators than we see in Wisconsin, so those dogs are definitely busy. He said he feels like it's a ring alarm around the farm with having Sirius around. They also had a People's Choice pup. Her name was Daisy. Daisy is what I'd guess is a pit bull mastiff cross that lives in Kentucky. That pup actually saved her farmer's life when her farmer fell without a phone and nobody nearby. Daisy the pup went crazy until somebody came to help her farmer, so she's been given the People's Choice Award. Kind of cool. If you want to see any more on those dogs or the American Farm Bureau Federation's campaign, go to fb.org, farmbureau.org. So in the markets today, one area that we're seeing some movement is in our dairy complex on cheese and butter. Wisconsin's milk production for the month of December basically went up just a tick, 2.69 billion pounds of milk produced within our border, and we did it with 1,000 fewer cows than we had in November, 5,000 fewer cows than we were milking December a year ago. The 24 major dairy producing states as a group saw milk production go down. California milk down almost 7%, primarily because of that high path avian influenza in dairy that they're still dealing with. Dairy on the product side looking pretty good today. Barrel cheese is up 2 at 184. 40-pound block cheese up 3 3/4 cents at 187. The AA butter, that one stands still today at 2.53 a pound. So how'd you like a guard dog like that, Michelle Renee?
I would love a guard dog like that. You know, I've got my cat, but
Friendly
he's not
face.
very protective.
Yeah, friendly face, big body, lot of vittles that you'd have to get to him, but boy, they earn their keep.
Yes, they do. Well, thanks, Pam. We'll check back in tomorrow.
Sounds good.
And temperatures today will feel a lot warmer than compared to last week. Here's Jacob with the complete forecast.
Yeah, I'll definitely take these mild temperatures, although it is very windy out there, and that's going to be the case throughout the rest of today and for tomorrow. But as I mentioned, I'll take these mild temperatures, and we're going to stay mild for much of this week. Maybe a few dips, but for the most part, we'll stay above average. We do have a chance of some mixed precipitation Friday through Sunday. It does look like, though, we'll see mostly rainfall, at least with the first round of precipitation. I'll talk about that in a moment, but first, I want to start with the winds. Again, wind gusts are around 30 to 35 miles per hour for much of the area. It will get better throughout the night into Tuesday morning, but then the winds are going to pick back up for Tuesday afternoon. However, these winds being out of the southwest will actually help the temperatures warm up. So although we're going to have wind gusts possibly up to 40 miles per hour, it's actually going to be beneficial for those temperatures. Now, after Tuesday afternoon, going into Tuesday night and Wednesday morning, it'll still be a little bit breezy, but not quite as bad. Wind gusts maxing out at around 30 miles per hour. But for Wednesday, the winds will shift and come out of the northwest. But then starting Thursday, they're going to come back out of the south. So Wednesday, those northwesterly winds will cool the temperatures down. And for Thursday, the southerly winds will warm them back up. And that's going to be a big driving factor with these temperatures. So looking at the forecast throughout the afternoon, we'll continue to see mostly cloudy skies, on and off sunshine. Could see some of those snow showers for the far northern portion of our area, but far southern Wisconsin should be fairly dry. Highs in the upper 30s, lower 40s. For tomorrow, a similar forecast, maybe a little bit more sunshine, but we're going to continue to be breezy. We'll have high temperatures in the lower 40s. It actually will be a little bit milder. And as we look at the high temperatures for the next 10 days, the northwesterly winds dropping those temperatures a little bit for Wednesday, but then bringing it back up to the middle 40s for Thursday. Now, by the time we get to the weekend and next week, it will be a bit cooler, but we're still not expecting temperatures quite as bad as they were last week. Now, as we take a look at the precipitation chances for the next 7 days, we're going to be dry through at least Thursday, but as we get towards Friday and the weekend, we have a better chance of precipitation. And yes, it could be in the form of rain and also some snowfall. Now let's take a look at the forecast for now. Now a lot could change between now and then, but starting Thursday night, we'll start to see some of that rain move into southern Wisconsin. It looks like the best chance of precipitation for Thursday night into Friday will be south of Madison, but areas around Dane County could still see some of that moisture. And then for Saturday, we'll see cloudy skies, could see some light precipitation, but at this point in time, we're not expecting anything too heavy during that time frame. And then for Saturday night into Sunday, we'll see another round of some possible rain and snow. Again, it's still a bit unclear as to just how these systems will develop for the end of this week and early next week, but it looks like we're not going to see much in the form of precipitation, and almost certainly we're not going to see much in the form of accumulating snowfall. So temperatures, they're going to be mild, but it is going to be windy for the next couple of days. However, we are going to see those temperatures drop a little bit by the weekend and early next week, but we're still not really seeing a ton of snowfall accumulation in the forecast despite the increase in precipitation chances for the weekend. So we're going to continue to see a very not winter ground out there, as we haven't really seen a lot of snow and there's not much expected coming forward.
I don't need a lot of snow. I don't like cleaning off my car anyway, so that's okay, Jacob. Thank you.
I want the snow though.
Well, up next, Howard's in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen with a top-rated recipe featuring graham crackers.
If you're like most people, you've probably dunked them in milk, sandwiched a toasted marshmallow and chocolate bar between them, or crushed them up to make a buttery pie crust. Of course, I'm talking about graham crackers. And today, I want to share one of our top-rated recipes that'll take them to a whole new level. We start by combining a package of instant vanilla pudding with some milk. Once it starts to thicken up, we fold in a container of whipped topping. At this point, it's pretty hard not to grab a fingerful right from the bowl. Now we line the bottom of a 9x13 pan with some graham crackers and spoon half of the vanilla cream over them. More crackers go on top, followed by the rest of the cream and another layer of crackers. It's kind of like making lasagna. To finish it off, we'll spread the top with a can of chocolate frosting. Once it chills and the graham crackers sort of soften up, it's done. With each piece, you get the taste of a bakery-style eclair without all the work. To get your hands on this all-star favorite, all you have to do is go to our website and look for chocolate eclair cake. I promise you'll be glad you did. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a layer after layer way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
Coming up at noon, Lisa Briggs from the Bruce Company is here answering your plant and garden questions. Email those questions to tips@channel3000.com. We'll get the answers next. From the Bruce Company is answering your plant and garden questions. You can email them to tips@channel3000.com. Good afternoon, Lisa.
Hi there.
So Deborah has several calico plants and they grow quite well and flower on a regular basis. However, because they grow so quickly, they get really leggy and the branches break off easily. Is there anything she can do to make them more attractive?
So kalanchoe or kalanchoe are sort of kind of like a succulent leaf, and they have flowers that come in a lot of colors, and they're really great blooming houseplants because they do bloom on a regular basis. So I would say that if they're breaking off, they might need to be repotted and need a little bit more room. And if it's not an emergency, we always recommend that repotting things wait until maybe the middle part of February. So give them a couple more weeks and then get a pot that's maybe an inch all around, bigger than the pot that they're in now. Make sure it has drainage, and then get some good potting medium, and then just repot.
All right. Well, Lisa from Judo wants to know if Virginia creeper is good for this area.
Virginia creeper as a climbing, it does get a little bit aggressive. So if you have a spot where you want a vine, but not something that's going to cover vast quantities of space, come on into the garden center when we get some plants in and we can show you some better alternatives. Virginia creeper is a bit of a thug.
All right, doesn't sound like we want any of that around. Well, Teresa says she has had angel trumpet for about 5 years. It's 10 feet tall in a west window. It's never bloomed, and she wants to know can she get it to bloom? She gives it 6 cups of water every day.
That's a little bit more water than it probably needs, especially at this time of year and being inside. But what I would do is move it outside in the summertime, and then because then it's going to get enough sunlight. So it's probably a west window. It's probably not as sunny as it needs to be. And I would let it dry out the first inch or two of the soil between watering. So watering it every day is probably a little excessive.
All right, we've got a few more questions. This one's from Sheila. She bought a bag of potting soil that has fertilizer mixed in a couple of years ago. Is it still good, or should she just throw it out and buy new?
Potting soil that's been kept, even if it has some granular fertilizer in it, is probably fine to keep on using. When you open it up, sometimes over time you might get some fungus gnats in your potting soil. So check and make sure that that's not an issue. And if you don't see any signs of any kind of surface mold or fungus gnats activity going on there, then I'd go ahead and use it. It'll be fine.
All right, and for our last question, Jan wants to know, is there a list somewhere to see what to winter sow in what month somewhere?
So as people look at seeds, they start to think about when you should be potting them. And if you join our Facebook page, then you can look at, because every Wednesday we post on our Facebook page what you can be planting this week as far as growing seeds for spring.
All right. Well, Lisa, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
We appreciate you coming out today. Here is Jacob with a final check of your forecast.
Thanks, Michelle. Temperatures, they're going to remain mild for much of the week. We are going to see some windy conditions. That's going to continue today, but also see some of those windy conditions for tomorrow. As we get towards Wednesday, we'll see a bit of a dip in the temperatures, but then we could see some moisture towards the end of the week. right now it looks like it could be some rain and snow. Still a bit unclear as to just how much of each we will see, but that's our next best chance of precipitation. For next week, it does look like we will see temperatures a little bit cooler, but still better compared to what we saw last week. So overall, mild and windy the next couple of days, very mild by the time we get to Thursday.